What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to give a recap of yesterday's preseason game between our Atlanta Falcons and the Miami Dolphins. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content or NFL content. If you'd like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can donate to my Cash App, which is the $ Jew Talk Sports. And if you'd like to be a part of my Jew Talk Sports membership, you can hit that join tab here on the channel as well. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to give my thoughts on yesterday's preseason game between the Miami Dolphins and our Atlanta Falcons. So first off, I want to talk about the injuries. So early in the game, safety DeMarco Hellams went down with either a leg or ankle injury, and he had to be carted off. So it didn't look good for DeMarco Hellams. And we know that DeMarco Hellams is one of those guys at that safety position that was battling with Richie Grant to see who would be the starting safety next to Jesse Bates. So with him going down with injury, if it's a serious injury, this definitely affects the depth at that safety position. We do have other guys like Abernathy that plays that safety position as well. But the Falcons could look to add some depth at that position if DeMarco Hellams is going to be out for an extended period of time. Also early in the game, or at one point in the game, Braylon Trice, the rookie out of Washington, the edge rusher, went down with injury as well. And it looked like he also had some type of leg injury as well. Now, I'm not too sure because he was helped off the field by trainers and things of that nature. He wasn't carted off. So hopefully it's not a serious injury for either of these guys. But we know that Braylon Trice was brought in to add some depth as well at that edge position. So hopefully these two guys, we wish them a speedy recovery. I hope that these injuries are not season-ending type of injuries. But with that being said, it's just in regards to the game. First off, I want to talk about Michael Penix. So the rookie quarterback got his first start with our Atlanta Falcons during his first preseason action. He looked really good throwing the football, and we see why the Atlanta Falcons drafted him with that first round pick. He is one of those guys that throws the ball effortlessly. His ability to be accurate and on time with the football. We seen yesterday his ability to throw the deep ball. And he does a good job of putting touch on the ball, knowing when to use, throw the ball with, velocity and things of that nature, as far as knowing when to use some touch on the ball and then knowing when to throw a bullet pass. And yesterday he did a really good job of, you seen him going through his progressions and making good reads with the football. So that was good news, seeing him out there throwing the ball and things of that nature. The second thing that I noticed is the offensive line. The backup offensive line looked really good last night as well, protecting Michael Penix. He wasn't really under pressure a whole lot when he was in the game. So that definitely says that Dwayne Ledford, who is the offensive line coach, has done a really good job of working with these guys and developing this offensive line. We know that we have one of the better starting offensive lines in the league, but to see the backups out there protecting Michael Penix, they did a really good job in pass pro for the most part of protecting Michael Penix when they were in the game. They didn't look really great when we ran the football, but they did a really good job of protecting in the pass pro. Now, another player that stood out to me in this game was backup running back Carlos Washington. And he's a guy that's battling with Jace McClellan, who we drafted out of Alabama for that third running back position. And personally, I think that Carlos Washington, to me, looked better than Jace McClellan. We know that Jace McClellan, though, is a rookie, and this was his first NFL action as well. But personally, if it came down to these two guys to make the active 53-man roster, I personally would go with Carlos Washington. To me, he just looks more prepared to play because he was with our Atlanta Falcons last year. It looked like he was out there with something to prove last night. And to me, he jumped off the screen. His ability to catch the ball out of the backfield on screen passes, He did a good job in pass protection, stepping up and, stopping linebackers from blitzing and things of that nature. And he picked up a couple blitzes where I seen him put his nose in there and do a good job of protecting Michael Penix. And to me, he did a really good job of getting what the defense gave him, being, one cut and downhill. So, of course, as I mentioned, Jace McClellan is a rookie, so we know that it was his first action. So we're going to have to look at that battle closely because those guys, it could come down between those two guys. But right now, I would be leaning towards Carlos Washington being that third running back, just personally. Now, another thing that I noticed in this game, out of the defense, guys like J.D. Bertrand, the draft pick out of Notre Dame at the middle linebacker position, he played really well last night, did a good job of making tackles, did a good job with the green dot on his helmet when he was in the game of calling the defense. He looked really confident out there and making plays. Guys like Antonio Hamilton at that cornerback position, he was another guy that stood out to me in this game. His ability to cover, his ability to come up and make tackles and be physical. I really think that he'll be a guy that can add some depth on this team. I believe he wears the number 33 for our Atlanta Falcons. And then cornerback Kevin King, who has recently been out of the league due to some injuries and things of that nature, former Green Bay Packer cornerback. He's another player that stood out to me when number 32, he came up with an interception in this game. And he did a good job in man-to-man coverage. He did a good job also being physical, coming up and tackling as well. And to me, both of those corners stood out to me. So I really feel like our secondary is going to be really, really good this year. But both Kevin King and Antonio Hamilton looked really good yesterday in yesterday's game. Now, on the defensive line, the guys who stood out to me was Contavious Street. He looked really good when he got in the game. He was very disruptive, almost had a sack in the game, but did a good job of rushing the passer. I believe on the play where Kevin King got the interception, Contavious Street was the guy who actually came up with the pressure, which caused the quarterback to throw the ball, early or throw the ball inadvertent on that play. So he looked really good in both penetrating the backfield and causing havoc as far as stopping the run and also pushing the pocket. And then on the defensive line as well, young players, Ruka Rororo, Brandon Dorless, to me, those guys, you could tell it was their first game because those guys didn't really, to me, look that aggressive out there. It looked like they were kind of trying to feel things out and kind of still learning the game, trying to adjust to the speed of the game and things of that nature. So I would like to see those guys in a couple more preseason games get a few more snaps. But I still was impressed with guys like Zach Harrison on the defensive line. He looked really good last night as well. Looked like he was getting pressure back there. And outside of those guys, to me, those were pretty much the guys that stood out in this particular game. We got to see the new kickoff rules and things of that nature. And they had Carlos Washington back there. He had a couple decent returns. And they also had Abernathy back there, but I didn't get a chance to see him return any kicks. But outside of those guys that I seen, those were the guys that really stood out in this particular game. So you guys give me your thoughts as far as this preseason. It looks like this Falcons team, we have a lot of depth. Majority of the starters didn't play at all in this game. So I'm looking forward to the next preseason game to see who steps up. But in this game, I'll have to give it to Kevin King as far as probably the guy who stood out the most in this game to me. With him coming up with that interception, I really feel like he's a guy that we're going to have to watch throughout the remainder of the preseason games. He could be a guy that's moving up the depth chart just with his experience, him playing and having familiarity with Coach Gray, being in Green Bay with him. So with that being said, you guys give me your thoughts. I have a lot more content coming for you guys, but as always, Falcons Nation, rise up, be blessed. Peace.